Welcome to Knowledge Valley for IAS, IFS, IPS. We are going to discuss two editorials. One is on Parliament missing in action. So, we are going to see during the period of COVID 19, the Parliament has not been in session and has not taken any decision. The second one is time to discontinue free power for farmers. It has led to widespread wastage of water and electricity. So we are going to see some plus points and minus points on how the government is trying to now remove the free electricity to the farmers. So let's start with time to discontinue free powers for farmers. 15 years back, Dr. Manmohan Singh, as Congress Prime Minister, had openly spoke against the free power supply for the farmers. The BJP-led government at the center is attempting to do in a much, you can say, reformed manner currently. Now, what has happened is currently the farmers are, because of this scheme, using water as well as electricity in a unsustainable manner. So just remember, currently the farmers are using water as well as electricity in a unsustainable manner. Thus there is a need so that water and electricity both can be used properly. The resources, especially finance of the country, can be used properly, and those people who want or need the money can be helped with. So just remember, so if we bring this in a better way, if we stop the abuse of this free electricity to the farmers, we should remember three things will happen. It will help in better use of resources, country's deficit will become less, and we can say we can directly target the people who are in need. So direct targeting can be done. Now, how this is going to be done? The government is focusing on direct benefit transfer. So what the government wants to do is make the farmers pay for the money, that is the electricity that they consume, and then the government will put the money in their accounts. Now you will be thinking, the farmers are finally getting their money back. Then how will it help? The government will have proper information of all those people who are taking this benefit, and they will also be knowing how much these people are taking the benefit. Secondly, those farmers who do not need that is the rich farmers, the big farmers who do not need, they will not be given the money. So it will help help the government in targeting. Plus the money saved can be used for the infrastructure and development of farming sector. Now, predictably, Tamil Nadu was the first state to introduce free power in September 1984. So just remember this. 1984, first state to introduce free power was Tamil Nadu, and Chief Minister Edapadi K. Palaniswamy is not happy about the proposal. Secondly, Chief Ministers of Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Punjab, where free power scheme is in vogue, are yet to express their views. It is not difficult to predict their response. So they also are not going to be much favorable. After all, Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh, who had abolished the scheme during his first innings, is now a strong votary of the scheme. So just you have to remember that these chief minister will find it little difficult. The power subsidy bills, we'll see how is the power subsidy bills handled. In the last 15 years, Maharashtra has been the only state that has scrapped this free power scheme. Karnataka will be the first which will be implementing this direct benefit transfer scheme which the central government has said. So what the central government has said is they will allow the state governments to take or borrow more money. As per rule, the state government should ask the central government while they have to borrow. So central government will allow state governments to borrow more money, but they have to do something before that. What is the thing they have to do is they have to bring direct benefit transfer in power supply. meaning don't give free power to the farmers, ask them to pay the money, and you put in their account, that is the state will put in their account the cash. So that is the whole thing which the central government has come up with. Reason is the power subsidy for the 4 southern states and the Punjab is 33,000 crores. It's a very huge amount, and that is why the states need to curb on such expenditures so that money can be used in a much more better way. Now, financial stress apart, the universal application of the scheme has a lot of that is the free power scheme has a lot of issues. So what are the various issues which are there in the scheme, or in that when we say we are going to initially, that is the free power scheme which was there, what was the issues in that? The first and the most important issue is about the groundwater, and as I just told you, the scheme has led to widespread wastage of water and electricity. So lot of wastage, so that's the first important point that you have to remember. A lot of wastage of groundwater as well as electricity. It may be pertinent to point out that India is the largest user of groundwater at 251 billion cubic meters, exceeding both China and US. So both China plus US, India uses more water. Now, do you think we are using this in a judicious manner? Answer is no. We are depleting a lot of water resources, and because of the more use of water, the soil and the farmers are using in very large number. The soil also, there is a alkalination, or you can say the salination of the soil. A lot of salts on the soil, so it leads to the soil become infertile. So that's the first issue. Secondly, in the parts of Kaveri, that is Tamil Nadu or Sangrur district of Punjab, story about groundwater table is the same. Okay, worrying rate of depletion. So first is excess wastage, second is groundwater being depleted, and it is going to hurt the farmers. Third is extension of scheme. This scheme leads to the increase in pump sets. Karnataka is an example. The number of irrigation pump set was around 17 lakh 12 years ago. Now they have 30 lakh pump set. So first is wastage, second is groundwater depletion, third is pump sets. So a lot of electricity being used. Fourth is scheme, the misuse of the scheme, for which not just a section of farmers but also the field officials are to be blamed. So a lot of corruption. Fifth is the absence of meters for these connections or segregation of feeders or metering of distribution transformers. Accurate measurement of consumption becomes tricky. So exactly we do not know the electricity is it going to the farms or is it going to the household work. So corruption is an issue, and we do not know exactly where the electricity is going. So those in charge of power distribution companies find it convenient to reduce their aggregate technical and commercial losses by clubbing all the consumption by the farm sector. So 5 problems, just remember: wastage, then you have depletion of the groundwater, then you have increase in pump sets, corruption, and then you have you can't segregate or differentiate between household electricity use and farm electricity use. So just remember these arguments. Now, what are the arguments for free power? Proponents of the free power scheme have a couple of valid points. Apart from food security, some say free power provide livelihood to the landless, laborers, and etc. When farmers dependent on supplies through canals get water almost free of cost, it is but fair that those covered by canal irrigation should be given free electricity. So those who are supporting, they say it gives a lot of employment, it gives a lot of food security, and the weak are saved. So this is another set. So there might be some positives and negatives of giving free power or free water to the farmers, but those enjoying free power need to be told that use of groundwater and how to conserve it. So that is what needs to be told to those people who are using free power and water. Making use of the situation created by COVID-19, the center is trying to make lasting changes in areas where such measures are long overdue. At least area of power sector, its attempt can yield meaningful results only if there is a change in the mindset of agriculturists and political parties towards the concept of free power. So the second point or article that we are going to see is India's parliament is missing in action. In India, we have a parliamentary system of democracy. Now, what do you mean by parliamentary system of democracy? We have legislature, judiciary and executive. The legislature and legislature make laws, executive implements the laws. Okay, so that is why we call it as a parliamentary system. Reason is executive in our country, executive is part of the legislature and judiciary is separate. Means you will find the prime minister and council of minister who is also who are also MPs, members of parliament. So that is why we call it parliamentary system of democracy. So executive is part of the legislature. That is why we call it a parliamentary system of democracy. So in our constitution, the parliament is important, the parliament is supreme. And why the parliament is needed is so that why we have taken the parliamentary system of democracy, so that we can question the role of the executive. Okay. During the time of COVID-19, you must remember, the parliament had to be there and questioning the government and asking questions and demanding answers or demanding execution. But we have seen silence in the part of the parliament. Parliaments across the democracies around the world have met. The Canadian Parliament had its first lockdown meeting in the month of April with 280 out of 338 member of parliament attending through video conference. So the Canadian Parliament did video conference. In England, they had the hybrid model. In hybrid model means some were in the video conference, others were sitting in the parliament that they have. Whereas in some other countries like France, Italy, Argentina, Brazil, Australia, New Zealand, there was video conferencing done and the parliament were meeting. But India, which prides to say that we are having parliament democracy of the world's largest democracy, have been completely silent. There is no meeting. And as I told you, parliament, like for example, in our parliament, we have the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. So that is our parliament in the center. So, and this is both together is called as the legislature. Now, in the legislature, we have our executive. Now, executive is the prime minister and council of ministers. Judiciary is completely different. Don't worry about the judiciary. Now, prime minister and council of ministers are part of this legislature. That is both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So, what does the parliament do is we question the prime minister and council of ministers, but the parliament has not met. So, that is the issue which are discussed in this article. Now, the first issue we can see that the recent lockdown we had and the recent steps which were taken by the government is all made under the National Disaster Management Act. Now, National Disaster Management Act, which the government is using to bring the lockdown and bring the changes in the country, does not have any specific things on an epidemic. So before the lockdown was brought in, the parliament was meeting, it was in session. Then why couldn't the parliament bring an appropriate act during that time is the first question. Secondly, any money which is used by the government, okay, it has to use it in with the approval of the parliament. So the prime minister calling for 20 lakh crore and the prime minister asking for so many expenditures from the parliament, from the funds of India without asking the parliament is again considered to be an area of scrutiny or an area of approval. So these are the 2 points which needs to be. Now the pressing issues in our parliament, the MPs have been given a specific duty to shape the policy and guide the government make acts in national interest. There are so many issues which are going on at the present. So we have the COVID-19 which is going on. We have the health issues which are going on. We have the migrant issues. My the migrants which are there. Then we have the economic crisis issues which are going on, and the vulnerability of the weaker sections, the animal rights, so on and so forth. So there are a lot of issues which are going on, and the parliament had to come out and guide the government, make the government accountable, ask questions, and make acts. But where is our parliament is a question. Our constitution does not provide or prohibit, you can say, meetings that may require maintaining physical distancing or remote meetings. So you can the parliament could have called for video conferencing. So the rules of procedure of both the houses require the Secretary General to issue summons to each house specifying the date and place of session of the house. These enabling clauses can be used to hold hybrid meetings or remote meetings. The rules require parliamentary committee to sit within the presence of the house, but the speaker may permit meetings to be held outside. Indeed, subcommittees often go on study tours outside Delhi. So meetings of subcommittees, yes, committees and subcommittees can be is not needed, but at least the parliament should have met. Thus there is no prior parliamentary action required to permit meetings through video conferencing. So the parliament should have kept, so there is nothing to stop the parliament from video conferencing. So the next issue can come up on security or secrecy. But the parliaments themselves, the sessions are always televised, or they are telecasted on Lok Sabha TV and the Rajya Sabha TV and the Doordarshan. So there does not comes up any question of secrecy or security. Secondly, people might say, okay, there is no internet connections in the villages or many sections of India, but at least where the parliamentarians are in their district, in their constituencies, there will be some place which will have, or at least the district headquarters will have the fiber optics, because every village is now linked with fiber optics. So there is no point, or there is not a point like there is no rules or secrecy or no internet. These things cannot be the reason for the parliamentarians not meeting. So it is high time that the parliamentarians meet, because around 5,000 notifications have been given by the center and the state, and no one is there to scrutinize what the center and the state is doing. The whole idea of parliamentary democracy is broken if the executive is not challenged by the legislature. Okay, and the parliamentarians need to come together in July. The next sitting or session will be there, but because of the current situation, there are chances that this session might be postponed, but there is no logic in postponing this session. The parliamentarians need to meet and check what work has been done by the executive. Parliament should meet sooner, perhaps within a couple of weeks. India prides itself on being the world's largest democracy as well as the information technology provider to the world. It is imperative that parliaments harness the country's IT strengths to make or to buttress our credential as a performing democracy. Okay, so we have finished with two articles. One is on free power in farm sector, and the second is parliamentary missing out in action. So just remember, the art and science of asking question is the source of all knowledge. Thank you and have a great day.